We know that 69% of German single parents that use dating apps have been ghosted after they said they had kids.
Wow.
Anna Robbert is the country manager for Germany at Meetic, part of Match Group. She works behind the scenes of some of the biggest dating apps, helping singles find love.
I make love because this is ultimately the thing that we want to create. We love creating love stories.
86% of men in dating apps put that they are looking for a relationship.
I would hope that nobody would have to lie or something to find a partner.
The discussion is full of tips on how to use the dating apps correctly and avoid dating fatigue.
We get paralyzed in between all these choices and we never choose anyone.
I doubt there's a very high percentage in people that change the mind of the other person because this dating for potential, risky.
What tips would you give to someone for them to prevent burning themselves out?
That is something like very individual.
Through an insider lens, Anna explains the present and future challenges of online dating.
60% of users find experience in dating apps as negative. What makes it work for one people and not for others?
Our industry will not stop because, of course, we want to make the singles happy.
Talking about these trends that you mentioned, how do you see it evolving in the next 10 years?
This is a great discussion if you want to learn about dating apps, how they work inside, and present and future challenges of online dating. Let's dive in.
Welcome, Anna.
Welcome, or thank you for welcoming me.
No, it's really nice, and thank you too, because you're coming from Paris, right?
Yes, from the city of love.
The city of love. We are going to talk about love a lot today. First, for the people that are listening to us but may not know about your work, what do you do and what drives you?
So, I'm a so-called country manager for the German-speaking market of Meetic, and Meetic is a dating group of an even bigger dating group, which is Match Group, E&E. And I'm responsible for our German brands within Meetic and also partly of Match Group E&E. So this is what I do for a living, and I like to call it I make love because this is ultimately the thing that we want to create. We love creating love stories, and this is not only, this sounds very cheesy, I know, and this sounds very marketing claimy and everything, and I work in marketing as a country manager, of course, and in communications, but this is really why I get up every morning. So it's just very fulfilling to know that there are people out there that find their significant others because of the work that I'm doing.
That's really great. But specifically, what is the thing that the country manager does?
So in my case, I'm country manager. I'm responsible for the go-to-market strategy. For example, if an app wants to launch in the German-speaking market, then I will think about, okay, how can we do that? How can we communicate about that? Also, when the app then has to be, for example, translated to German, when we are not having like just an English app, I will also check with the product team that the translations are right, that the wordings are right, because it's not only translations actually. When you do communications, it's more about trans creation. So really saying it that our German folks will understand it and get it right, to have a bit more character. And this is why even though I'm German, I was brought up in Germany, I have the background, the right background for my role, but live in Paris. So to bring this expertise for the German market to Paris and to my group, actually.
It's very interesting that also you're living in Paris, and from your career you got into online dating as well. So Paris, the city of love, and a love career as well.
Yeah.
That's really nice. So there are a lot of dating apps out there. You mentioned before that you are supporting different brands of the Meetic group to launch. But there is also in the entrepreneurship industry a lot of people that are looking to launch their own dating apps. And my question is, what are the biggest challenges that you face when you want to launch a new dating app?
So this is something I think I'm responsible for multiple apps, as you said, and it's not only launching. Of course, when they are launched, then I'm responsible for that they are working on the market and that people get to know about it, and that we keep it going, like the community growing and keeping our singles satisfied, of course. So it's launch and then, of course, like more. But as for launching a brand, of course, it's challenging because nobody knows you before. And this is actually where it is very nice to be part of this group, where we also have a lot of expertise, like people with a lot of expertise. We have the right technical setup, and which is great for trust and safety measures, for example. We have, because there are so many brands, so many dating apps that belong in our group, we are very professional, of course, in that case. So I mean, big props to all the entrepreneurs, because I always find it super interesting when somebody has an idea and just goes for it. And like, I have the biggest respect for also people just like, having an idea, going for it, and doing it on their own without the big expertise that we have, actually. But it is challenging. I can imagine that. I think when you have a very original idea, for example, then it can work. There are always apps coming up from students that had an idea and then are really like wondering like, oh, okay, where's this going? This is super successful, and we see numbers growing. But also, this is, of course, like how to keep it growing and how to maintain maybe also a momentum. I think that can be of a challenge. And there, it's, of course, good to have someone with the right knowledge in there. This, I can imagine, I've not been an entrepreneur, I've not founded an app myself, but I assume this can be very challenging. Like when I think about all the legal restrictions, which are right, that we have them, all the technical behind work that is happening.
The development, you mean the coding stuff.
Yeah, and I think this is crucial. And this is maybe something that isn't the first thing to think of if you have a great idea and want to launch something. But this is definitely something people have to have on their mind.
No, definitely. So I see that if someone is thinking about launching a dating app, they have this idea in mind, they are going to go through a lot of struggle, both technical, safety, and legal as well.
Yeah. But apart from this, if the idea is great, of course, I mean, that's also, apart from this, we also have to launch the app. Of course, marketing is a big thing about it. Like, how do you get the message out there? It's great if you have a great idea, but how do you let the people know? So that can also be a challenge, like reaching, depends on the concept, for example, because my Affinity apps that I'm focusing on, or that I'm working on, like singles 50 plus, single parents, these are like two of the apps, even single parents and Zweisam for singles 50 plus. These are like very targeted, like how do you target this audience? How do you get the people? And it's very hard also to determine the right channels, to determine the right kind of marketing measures, for example, because it's you can. There's so much in our digital world that we can already do. But really getting to parents that are single, and this is a lot still to figure out. Like how do we get the people to know us?
Oh, it's true, definitely. So, in the moment you launch a dating app, or it's a dating app that is really recent, let's say, to get people to use the app? Because I imagine that if you start and you install a dating app and you see nobody, then you bounce and you never come back. So it's important that there are people. It's like a marketplace. So how do you make people come? How do you attract the people to a dating app?
I think there comes in place if you have the right concept and if you have a great, not only story to tell, but really really a great concept that people will love, and people actually also need. I mean, there are a lot of dating apps that came out of needs people had, like wishes people had. Then you will find these persons. But yes, first thing, if you launch an app, like first big success factor is to get the right people on the app, but get many of them, because then of course, so you have to have either a very, very newsworthy story, for example, that hits all newspapers, and then everybody's like, I have to have the app. Or you do marketing, you do advertising, and then gather the people where you think like, yes, that's the target audience that I want to reach. But it's crucial, of course, because the thing is, when we launched Even, for example, for single parents, then there were also comments, and you directly get these days the feedback from the customer, actually from the singles. There's not a lot of choice, for example. The thing is, sometimes I ask myself, if you find a new dating app and there are directly like hundreds of thousands people on it, would that not be weird? So on the one hand, like, wouldn't that be a bit weird? So I totally get the frustration, like, I want to see more people. Because I like the concept and I really want to see more people. But yeah, it takes time to really fuel the crowd and to really grow a community. So, and it takes time. But the thing is, if you're now like a bit frustrated or sad, even that you didn't find someone in your region yet, especially when it's like a very small region, for example. We're here in Berlin. Cool if you're in Berlin, there are more people. But if you're like a bit more rural, then of course it could be a challenge to find someone really in your village of, I don't know, 2,000 people. But the thing is, if that person that writes the comment, if you now leave the app, so then it will never, we will never become this community, because, so this is my pledge for people. If you believe in a concept and if you think like, this is for me, just maybe wait a bit. I know back in the days, I think I installed Hinge here in Berlin 8 years ago. Because I heard it in some American podcast. So back in the days. It's funny because a lot of people don't know that this app actually exists that long, even longer. And if I would have, and I was there, I was like, I checked one profile and then it's like, that's all for you today, even without applying any filters. Look, back in the days, there were only a very few people, even in Berlin, but I believed in the concept so much. So I just kept it on my phone, and it grew and it grew and it grew. And that's great. But of course, if the users, this is me talking as a user, but the users also have to stay there. I get that not everyone that is not so psyched about online dating apps like me for all my life, that maybe they're not like giving an app a second chance. But sometimes those second chances are worth it, I would say.
No, definitely. And also, we've been talking in the podcast that it's not only that some dating apps you don't have a lot of people you can choose from, but also that if you have a lot of people to choose from, that's a problem too, because we get some kind of paralyzed in between all these choices, and we never choose anyone. And sometimes at some point, you need to pick someone and forget about the rest. Yeah. Let's say. So this is what we call the problem of choice. So it's very interesting that people are asking, or that we want more selection. I believe that if you have 2 or 3 people to choose from, maybe you want more.
That's also, of course, very exaggerated, but but yeah, this is the problem of choice. But I think we can agree that you will never 100% fulfill other people's needs. There will always be someone that says there's too much choice, and there will be another one that says there's not choice enough. There will never be, but this is with everything. This is also like every restaurant, I think, will not have like all the dishes everybody wants to have or desires to have right now. So I think this is like always the dilemma of finding the right balance. And of course, it also changes over time. I mean, other concept there were times when new concepts were when it was about more like when online dating was also new, like people are like, oh, there are so many people like me, and I'm also not the only one, and it's great. It's a new experience. And then, of course, if we also get used to stuff and used to something, then we're looking for something new again and something different. So we also get a bit like, but now I could have like less people. So. And then there are other concepts coming up, for example. So this is how or other features coming up, for example, and this is how also our industry, like every industry, evolves, I think.
Oh, definitely. So from your background and being an online dating ambassador and working for an online dating and living in Paris, what are the features you like the most from a dating app, personally?
I'm very pro intentional dating. So this is why I like if you can react on something, like directly having deeper conversations, and having like having features that trigger this deeper conversation, so that you can answer to a prompt, for example, and tell your own story for something. So this is, or if you also can have a lot of information in your profile that you can then pick for a potential conversation starter. I think, and I think I'm not the only one that is just like I can't anymore with like hi, like someone just saying hi. I know, but this is actually also getting controversial, because also I have friends that I like. Yeah, okay, but why should I make an effort? Because I don't get a message back anyways. Why should I? And I'm like, okay, so maybe you also don't get a message back because you don't make an effort in the first step. So
that's probably a man problem, right?
No, it's not only a male problem. Yeah, it's not only a male problem. So I think also men want to have a bit. Also, this is in my personal life. This is also what I discover. Also, men want to have something like stimulating for the brain, and because also so these conversation, they go nowhere. Like hi. How are you?
What's up?
Okay, and I mean, this might work in a bar. There we are in this real life dating and online dating, in this, that these differences. This might work in a bar, but it might work in a bar because you're both at the same time, at the same place. So when you're then like, hi, how are you?
I
then
don't even
it happens.
know if that works.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe it also doesn't work like that way. That is like passionate online dater. Like I didn't do a lot of in real life. In real life dating, yes, but not like icebreakers, I would say. But then it happens in the same time. But imagine on our apps, and it's like hi, and then like maybe 2 hours later, or maybe the next day, hi, and then the next one comes. So this is why I think it's good to be original, to really look at the profile, and So I think it's not only the features that have to be attractive, but like also the attitude of the people using these apps.
What are the trends that you see in the dating world right now?
So one of the trends that, of course, is also very close to my heart, because I'm responsible for a few apps, for multiple apps for different target audiences, are affinity apps. Apps that are for very specific target audiences. I like to not say niche groups so much, because when we are talking about 50 plus, for example, this is not a niche. Like the German population, or the population, I think global population, but since I'm the German expert, the German population is getting older and older. Like the majority of people are or 50 plus makes a huge chunk of the population right now in Germany. So we're not talking about a niche anymore. It's like a legit community, if we can say so, that is maybe seen as a niche, partly because it's not really, it doesn't have like the spotlight in society as you can imagine. Same goes for single parents, for example. So also there we have a very specific target audience with specific needs that are met within specific dating app. So this is why I like the affinity apps that really target people in different life stages, or with different backgrounds, for example. There we have within our group, we're lucky to have we're lucky to serve a lot of communities and bring them what they want. So there's also BLK in the US, for example. For Black people, there's Chispa for Latin American people, Yuzu for Asian American people, for example, and we see that this is something definitely worth looking into.
Why it's important to create a different brand for specific affinity groups? Couldn't that be a filter in a generalist dating app?
Good question. Yes, of course, you have the generalistic apps, and they also have their right for existence, of course, always. But there, you have the filter. You don't know if the other person had their filters on. Maybe it's also a paid feature in some of these apps. So if we are looking at the dating market, for example, in average, a dating app user has 3 dating apps on their phone. Average, that's the average. So yes, maybe, for example, a 50 plus year old has 3 apps, and one of this is really dedicated to 50 plus, because then they feel, okay, this is where the other people are totally fine with my age, which is a big thing for women. It's kind of a sad news that I don't want to promote it like this, but it is still that that men usually prefer a bit younger women. And this is why a lot of women, this is changing right now, because I think a lot of women are taking back their role and their right of existence. Hey, I'm 50 plus, but that doesn't mean that I'm not attractive anymore or something. So that is great to see that. But we get the feedback from our users, and especially from our female users, that they think it's so great that they have this space where they know everyone I see here is totally fine with my age. And this goes especially also, of course, I will talk more about the apps that I'm responsible for single parents, for example. We know that 69% of German single parents that use dating apps have been ghosted after they said they had kids.
Wow.
So yes, of course you can have the filters, etc. But when you know I have one space where I can go and everybody is fine that I have kids, and this is not even like a huge topic, or even this is maybe also a fun topic to talk about, to say like, you know what, parent life, to exchange like the experiences they have and everything. So this is great that they know there, like, this is for me on that part. And if they are on another app, maybe they don't have the filters on or something like that, but for this Affinity app, they know, okay, here I'm the single parent that I am.
Wow, that's very, very interesting. Very interesting. And how do you see talking about these trends that you mentioned? How do you see it evolving in the next 10 years? It's we are going to have a lot of affinity groups, smaller apps that are spot on to what we want or what we expect.
I mean, that would be, for me, I think that would be great. But 10 years is a long period of time, like that you picked there. Because what has happened, like in 10 years, also when we look at online dating in general, when the category evolved, when Match in the US back then started, for example, I cannot even say like how many years, it's like over 20 years. And what has happened since then? So I think it's very hard to say like 10 years from now, but I definitely think because people really want also more individual solutions for all kinds of things in life, right? Like we got way more like customized features. So I also think this is something in the dating industry to look at. And of course, a big topic we cannot hide, or we don't want to hide, but AI is going to play a huge role also in that, apart from affinity apps, but also working within the apps, of course, but also maybe developing very new concepts.
Yeah, this topic of AI, it's something that is super hard right now. We are applying AI everything. And a lot of people are wondering as well, what's going to be this AI evolution in dating? And I heard from the CEO of Bumble that she says that we are going to have AIs talking for us or something like that. Well, what do you think about this AI replacing our personas in the dating apps?
I think the matchmaking, for example, which is also a trend actually. I mean, you might have seen also the Netflix series of Indian matchmaking, or what came out, and that people are also looking into that area again. But what if it's happening actually like in the online dating sector, and not with a real matchmaker like one used to know back in the days. I think that's a legit concept, and there are a few out there already, like trying or evolving this idea. And the thing is, I was not there actually when internet started. I mean, I was there, but I was there, but I for me, as digital native, even though I'm the granny when it comes to, I still know how it was without Instagram, for example. I'm very proud of that. No, like back in the day. So, but I cannot say, because I was never like super afraid of the internet. But back in the days, actually, people were like very skeptic, or like, what is this? If we go back in time, like there. And I think this is where we are right now with AI, that people are still maybe a bit like, okay, I get it a bit, but not like what is possible, or only seeing like some scenarios you don't want to see in your head. Like, so I think there's a lot of possibilities and opportunities. And right now there's a lot of skepticism out there, which is also healthy, I think, like to not always jump on everything that tech can deliver. But there will be great great opportunities there. So either it's in the so also this is also in our group, like we see AI is, of course, it will be great or is of great quality, no, of great use. First for the matchmaking, actually. So because it allows you to match better, and because this is actually to match better so that it leads to better dates or to faster dates, and to real relationships, but also the coaching part of it. So there's a matching part, which happens in the background, of course, and then there's a coaching part, for example, that can coach you to or prompt you a bit to helping you finding the right words to approach a person, for example. So the part that is with a customer, with our singles, with a user themselves, like that they have something positive to take away from that. So I think these two areas are definitely something.
What would you say to the people that are dissatisfied actually with dating apps? You know, like doing the research for this interview, I saw two contradictory numbers. One, first, more than half of the new formed couples, they met in a dating app.
Yeah.
From one side. But on the other side, this is a research from Pew Research, 60% of users find experience in dating apps as negative. So the question is, what makes it work for one people and not for others?
That's like the so-called dating fatigue that is also out there. This phrase of dating fatigue, this wording of dating fatigue. This is something actually pretty normal also in every normal dating process. So I think everyone, if there wouldn't be online dating, there would also be this dating fatigue for everyone at some point. But of course, when we talk about, so we are used to up and downs, like in individuals, as us and individuals. And also there's a part of innovation, of course, and this is why we always innovate and also listen to our users, like what do they want, what are they looking for, to really see like what are the needs, so to meet these needs in the end. And this is why the innovation in our industry will not stop, because of course we want to make the singles happy. And I think that some people are not satisfied with it. There will also be potentially a solution for them, so that they will at some point be satisfied. Maybe they haven't found their dating app yet. Maybe they haven't found something that worked for them. There are so many concepts out there. So this is something that I really. I think there's a lot of exploration still to do, but actually this keeps innovation going. It would be very boring if everyone would always be. I mean, it would be very chillax, yes, but this keeps innovation going and industry moving. So I think it's important that we also challenge that and ask those people also, what is it exactly that you don't like?
No, definitely. And sometimes we are putting a lot of pressures on the tools when the problems that we have are not related with the tools.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What you mentioned before, that if dating apps wouldn't exist, would we have the same problems? Probably yes, but the tool, what it does is to scale them. It's kind of it scale the goodness, because 50% of the couples.
Yeah, because the thing is also like you get to meet people that you might have not met before, like people outside of your bubble, because at some point, if in your friend group everyone is in a couple, I mean, it gets a bit like lonely maybe for you, and also like okay, there are only so many people you can introduce in a friend group. So this is why it gives you so much like a world of opportunities to meet people out there. And I think that's great, and even on a global scale, if you want, like meeting people in other countries and so on. So I like to look on the bright side of things there, and yes, also when I get pushed back, like there is someone else, like the greater power of your company choosing for me. It's still the people you still choose yourself who you're matching with and who you're meeting. This is for me very important also to say. I mean, our apps, and we love creating love stories, and our goal is that people go on dates. But this is only the ticket. So there is also, of course, this is the way to meet people, but the meeting doesn't stay online. It goes further. So then comes the show, and the show is on you. What you make out of it in real life, that's always on the person, of course.
So that's the metric, actually. You know, like I understand from the scope of responsibility of the dating app is to deliver you dates. But what comes after? Then you need to perform during the date. You know, like then you need to continue seeing the people.
Yeah, and see where this is going. So yeah.
So, Professor Scott Galloway mentioned some numbers a couple of months ago about the experience of men in dating, and he says that a man gets a match every 40 swipe rights, a potential coffee every 200 swipe rights, and out of 5 potential coffees, 4 ghost that men of average attractiveness. So that means that a man of average attractiveness needs to swipe right 1,000 times to get a single coffee. And my question is, thinking about this average attractiveness guy that is seeing his experience very bad in the dating experience, in dating apps, what tips would you give to this guy to optimize his experience in a dating app?
Yeah. In that case, I don't know where he has his insights from and his numbers from. I guess because he's very well known. He might have like studies from Harvard or something. But would be interesting to get the insights for this. But what I would suggest to these people is, first of all, look also at your profile, because it's still what is good is if it's properly filled out, especially if you're looking forward to, if you look forward to have a coffee, to have a date, to have a serious relationship at the end, for example, it's good to have a good profile with a lot of information in it. So show the people who you are. I think not like show the people who you are, and also we have so much possibilities now with the smartphones. I think yes, no one is a photographer. Like there are rarely people that are like professional photographers, but it is kind of possible to have a good selfie, at least that is not super blurry, for example, and that shows yourself. So reflect yourself in pictures, like maybe put some fun into it also. Show what you're like as a person, because this is what people also want to see, right? Because this is like it gives you the whole perspective of who you are. So I think with this, keeping the self-confidence and keeping, hey, I'm a great guy, I'm a great gal, and this is who I am, and show this. I think this is already like a very good start for this, because yes, there are a lot of profiles out there that are not having a bio, that have a blurry picture, that have only two things, two of the stickers like answered to find out, and then I am a bit I'm a bit like, okay, so let's work on your profile first, and then you can come back and tell me what other problems
Put in the work,
maybe like.
essentially. You know, like what you mentioned before. If you give up and you don't put the work on, you're not going to be as successful in your dating experience.
Yeah.
I interviewed 2 matchmakers, and both were saying something similar to what you're saying, especially if you are a man. Pay for a photographer for your pictures. It's a game changer.
But you don't even have to pay a photographer. Like, ask your friends, for example.
Your female friends.
Your female friends.
It seems that we don't know how to take pictures of ourselves.
And also, like, if you struggle with words, this is why, for example, there is a possibility, or when I said, like, with the coaching part with AI, to help people find the right answer to icebreakers, etc. When you're maybe not, when you're a great person, but you're maybe not good with words, but then ask a friend, and or if you feel not feel right to ask a friend, then we have the artificial friends to ask for that right now, but. Get some support. I think that's totally fine, and this is for all people out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's true that it could be a generic advice, but it's also I want to acknowledge that there are differences in between men and women and how they are experiencing the dating life through online dating. The other day I was checking a Reddit post, because I like to check, like people that put their profiles and in Reddit, so others can comment on this, say what can improve, and all this stuff. And it was very interesting to see a girl that was putting her profile. She was saying, I'm a 6 or a 7. I consider myself a 6 or a 7. And I've been in online dating for 7 days, and I have 1,600 likes.
Wow.
Like that, the tool, I don't know what dating app she was using, but it was saying like how many people liked you. So it's a completely different experience from a guy than for a girl in terms of the attention. I think that it's a reflection of the real world at scale. So the question goes in the opposite direction for women. Like you have a lot of guys, a lot of matches. Like what tips would you give to a woman that is using dating apps to increase the probability to find a good match and a good partner?
I mean, for me, for example, is also reflect on yourself. Like, what do I want? And the thing is, yes, it's not always like. Don't treat people like a checklist, but some filters are maybe relevant or can be relevant for you to really find a matching person faster, and you don't have to go through if you have so many matches, to go through so many people that maybe don't check like the very essential criterias, for example. I mean, if you're allergic to cats, for example, I think it's very hard if you're allergic to live with someone, if you're looking for a long-term relationship, live with someone, build a life, and have an allergy. Maybe don't match with people that have cats. I mean, it sounds so easy, right? But sometimes it's really like, but it's some things, especially when it comes to your health, maybe don't ignore them and be true to yourself. It's not about, I never wanted someone that I don't know, likes pineapple on pizza. Let's put out this pineapple on pizza forever thing that people write in their dating app. I mean, this is a criteria you can overlook. Like maybe you don't like it, but the other answers are great, and he's in my city, and he has the same hobbies as I have, and I feel attracted to the pictures, whatever, then forget about the pineapple on the pizza. But if it's like something very important for you, or like the cats thing, like that is important for your health, maybe, then don't overlook it. People that want children and maybe like look for people that also want children or have children if you're fine with someone who already had children, but don't match with people that maybe don't know or don't want. I mean, these are like lost, like these are very big life decisions, and this is like lost. And I think also one example for what relationship are you looking for? I think this is also something, because if you're looking for a long-term relationship,
but that's also interesting.
If you give everyone a try, I know this is also controversial because it's like, yeah, but it could change. Yeah, of course it can, and I know people change. I know I have also know some people, but if you go on a dating app and say, I don't want anything, of course there can be like the love of your life, and like, but if you're always thinking about, there are no scientific numbers on this, I think, but I doubt there's a very high percentage in people that are like short-term relationship, looking for a long-term relationship, change the other person, or change the mind of the other person, because this dating for potential, risky.
100% super interesting. I read a statistic the other day that men in dating apps, 86% of men in dating apps put that they are looking for a relationship. And when you talk with girls, you know, like the problem they find is the opposite. It's kind of men don't want to commit, or they are into casual sex. So I find it very interesting because it seems that if you don't put that you are looking for a long-term relationship as a man, you don't play in the game of the dating apps. Mm. So there is a part of trying to lie or to try to, you know, like get female attention through showing a part of yourself that is not true.
There we are again in the topic of human unkindness. Yeah. I think that's, I mean, yes, maybe I'm very the optimistic person here, but I always have to say, and this is a very personal opinion, that there is someone for everyone. I like to believe that, but also we talked about dating apps and how many dating apps there are, and like the industry is like the business is like big, you know, and there are so many different players, and players, I mean, with the companies and the brands, because I don't like the dating game phrase. That's like no. But there are so many brands and so many apps there, and I always believe there's something for everyone, and I think it's but maybe those people also might not know, because it's totally fine if you're not. I mean, I'm not working in the scope of like very short term. We are in the business of more serious relationships. But there are so many also like apps that are for the short term, for one night stands or whatever. Maybe these people don't know these apps, which is a shame then, because they would have like their clients and they don't reach them, apparently, that they are on other apps and have to put something in their profile that they don't mean, which is kind of sad, because that's the great thing about this huge portfolio of apps, where some people are like, there's so many, I don't see through it anymore, but yeah, maybe you find something that is like especially for you. And this is also, of course, I mean, in Berlin we are very open, it's very open-minded and everything, so of course these apps might be more popular or more known within the scope. But yeah, I would hope, in my perfect world, I would hope that nobody would have to lie or something to have the illusion to find a partner. That would be my perfect world, and everyone would be in their area of needs and wishes. Yeah.
Super interesting. So what you mentioned before, what tips in general would you give to someone for them to prevent burning themselves out in dating apps? You call it dating fatigue.
Yeah, the phrase that was used before. That is something like very individual. I think to know where are your boundaries. For example, what could be like, I'm dedicating a specific time to online dating, to the search or to find someone. Because also one thing that is still like, this is, some people say, oh, are you desperate or getting out there? No, because I mean, I'm also not, if you're, for example, if you're searching for a job, right? Like, let's just put it like, if you're searching for a job, you also, and so you really want a new job, you know? Do you sit at home and be like, oh, I really want a new job? Well, I hope...
It's a great analogy, actually.
You know, when I go outside, maybe someone will approach me and propose something. No, you go on LinkedIn, you sign up for job newsletters or something like that, and you go out there and be like, you look what's out there on the market, and then you find what you'll... ideally find what you're looking for, but then you see the different options, etc., etc. So in job, nobody would say, "Oh, you're desperate, huh?" Like, so if you want a partner, if you are looking for a relationship, so why not be proactive and go out there and look? And this, of course, in online dating, this will happen online. The first initial contact will happen online. But to also make sure that you're not exhausted from it, then maybe just say, okay, this is I really want a relationship, but I have a busy life. I have so much going on. So maybe dedicate what you have on time, 30 minutes per day. So 30 minutes per day, I will invest in myself and invest in my search for that partner. And 30 minutes, I will swipe or search or write. And then every day or every second day, like, this depends on your time schedule and boundaries, and maybe also like, how much you are willing to invest, how much time you're willing to invest, and that's fine. Only in that case, what I would suggest is, if you say, I only go every second day, for example, if you have a conversation running, for example, with someone, it's great to inform that person about it, so that they don't think, where's the answer? This is like totally fine to say, I'm checking my app, or it's also fine not to have your notifications on, for example, and you can just, I think the best thing is just like not to forget is communication there, and say, you know what, I don't have the notification on, but I'm checking at 8 p.m., like usually I'm checking around 8 p.m. or something. So let's talk tomorrow again, right? I'm going to bed now, bye. So this is nice, just like being upfront with it. And I think putting time frames, for example, that's fine. Or if you also say, I need a break from my search right now, it's totally fine, take a break.
I find what you said amazing, because there is a lot of talking about the idea of digital hygiene. So it's how we put our self-boundaries to social media, to YouTube or Netflix in general, but also this idea that we can get burned out if we are using a lot technology or dating apps. And these tips of how to prevent yourself to, like feel bad about the process, I think it's great.
Yeah, and I think also if you sense that you're more like you feel more negative about something, but this goes for everything in your life. Maybe just like step back shortly and then reassess the situation, for example. And then think like, okay, so what is my next plan? Like, how am I going to solve maybe like my problem of being single? So
that's very interesting. It comes back down to self-awareness, knowing your limits, your boundaries, your needs, and studying them, and then expose yourself to dating. Because it's true that a lot of people blame dating apps when the problem is that they are not being able to put boundaries to themselves. So, I wanted to say thank you, Anna. Thank you for coming here and sharing your passion and expressing all the things you've been doing and the things that you think people should follow to make sure they have a good dating life. And I think now we are living in a moment in which a lot of people are very lonely, especially our younger generations. And all the efforts from different parts, dating apps, offline dating, and all the AI work that is going through to improve this problem that we have, I think is a really great contribution. And what you're doing in the Meetic group, also with the Affinity groups, it's amazing. So I want to say thank you for that.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a very nice talk, and I know I talk a lot because I'm very I could talk until tomorrow. I think this is for sure. But I hope I can also give some, or was able to give some good insights. And of course, I mean, what motivates me the most, also talking here, meeting new people, and pushing the topic, of course, forward, is because I see what comes out of it in the end. Because we get emails, we get social media messages, we get pictures of people then having their vacation, their weddings, their kids being born and everything, and seeing that at the end of the day. This is why I'm so ecstatic about it and want to share this, because I see a lot of good in there. And I hope a lot of your listeners too. Well.
Oh, that's really great. How people can get more about you? How can they follow you? LinkedIn? How can they follow about what you're doing in the different affinity groups? Or
yeah, of course. So feel free, of course, everyone, like personally follow me on LinkedIn. I think that you will also tag me and everything. And then we are also active, of course, on LinkedIn with a match group in general with Meetic, which is a very French, because Meetic is a French group. So there are a lot of French LinkedIn posts, I think. But since we are all having like the automatic translations right now on post, so that doesn't matter too. And there you will find like lots of things. But from the German market, I'm always informing everyone about my about my work, about the job, the dating market in general. So happy to also connect with other people there.
We'll put it in the comments. So thank you.